Divesting gone wrong, the Lita McClinton story. Who is Lita McClinton? Lita LaVon McClinton, January 7, 1952 to January 16, 1987, was an American socialite who was murdered the day her divorce was to be settled. She was the daughter of Georgia State Representative Joanne McClinton and former U.S. Department of Transportation official Emory McClinton. Emory McClinton had his suspicions about the white man, and rightfully so. Father Emory McClinton spoke. I said, "You know, I don't think it's a good idea." And I gave my reasons: courtesy, his age, his arrogance, Emory McClinton, and the difficulties that they would encounter socially, courtesy, as an interracial couple, Emory McClinton, as an interracial couple. The white man, Sullivan, was divorced with 4 children. But the McClinton, they say they didn't interfere, and Lita married Sullivan in December 1976. The couple settled down to a comfortable life in Macon, Georgia. Sullivan ran a successful liquor distributorship he'd inherited, while Lita worked in a department store. 7 years later, in 1983, after Sullivan sold his business, they traded up, way up, to ritzy Palm Beach, Florida, and a prestigious oceanfront mansion. Jim Sullivan became a regular on the town's exclusive social circuit. They had the trappings of a glamorous life, but Lita's friends and family say that she was miserable. According to family friend Cordery, for her, it was like a prison. Emory McClinton, it was worse. Cordery, it was worse. Emory McClinton, yes. She was always strapped. Emory McClinton, yeah. If he didn't bring home napkins from Wendy's, they didn't have napkins. But worse than his stinginess, they say, was Sullivan's brazen infidelity. Mom Jo and McClinton said, "When you find blonde hair in your bed," and Jim's hair was dark then, obviously, you know, very Cordery. So, in her own home? Jo and McClinton, in her own home, yes. Mom Jo and McClinton said, it was known that he would pick up prostitutes, and that was the last straw for Lita. McClinton was shot when receiving a box of pink roses at her doorstep. In 1997, Philip Anthony Harwood was identified as the hit man and indicated that he had committed the murder for $25,000 at the behest of James Sullivan, the former husband of Lita McClinton, who had been in Palm Beach, Florida, during the shooting in Atlanta, Georgia. Sullivan escaped arrest by fleeing abroad. On July 2, 2002, he was arrested in Thailand, and in 2004, he was extradited to Atlanta. In March 2006, Sullivan was convicted of murder for arranging the 1987 shooting of his wife and sentenced to life imprisonment without parole in a Georgia prison. Sullivan never seemed to mind that his wife had been murdered. He continued with his life as normal, playing tennis and even dating Hyosuk Choi Rogers, 33-year-old socialite, a woman he married 8 months after the death of Lita. In 1990, Sullivan was pulled over by police for a traffic violation. He also had an expired registration. Instead of Sullivan appearing in court, his wife Suki appeared and testified that she was driving the car and the police officer made a mistake. The couple did not want to draw attention on Sullivan and the continuing investigation of Lita's murder. However, the judge did not fall for it, and Sullivan ended up spending time on house arrest for perjury and another year on house arrest for weapon possession. In 1998, another arrest warrant was issued for Sullivan after the actual murderer confessed to being hired by Sullivan. He had met Sullivan when he moved the couple from Georgia to Florida. Sullivan fled the country to Costa Rica before an arrest warrant was issued. He then jumped from country to country. He was finally arrested in Bangkok. He was married to wife number 3. After a lengthy trial, Sullivan was sentenced to life in prison without parole for murder. As you can see, the signs were there. This white man just wanted someone that he could hide his partying behind. He never viewed Lita like an actual wife, just someone he could use since he was into shady and illegal business dealings. He had no respect for Lita. He made sure she found blonde hair in her bed. Trust, he wanted to let her know she wasn't his preference.